All right, we're going live for real this time. Hello, everybody. Welcome to streaming. Jesus, okay, so let me tell you something. I use OBS Studio to do my streaming. And for a little while there, I was using Streamlabs. And you know what I realized is that even though these are both supposedly somewhat tied to each other, they operate so stupidly different, it's not even funny. And I really don't understand because sometimes I hit start streaming on OBS Studio and it kicks right away and goes live. And then other times I click start streaming and nothing frigging happens. I just end up feeling stupid, or I sit here and I start talking for like 10 effing minutes until, CL's good enough to tell me that I'm not actually streaming and she can just hear me yelling into the ether. And I'm like, oh, well, that's just effing ducky. But anyway, that's my little rant. Here I am streaming on YouTube, and I didn't even make a thumbnail for this video because I'm just not that creative today. And honestly, I didn't know what the hell to do for a thumbnail anyway. So, here's the deal. It's NaNoWriMo, National Novel Writing Month. A month where a bunch of crazy people decide to write 50,000 words in a single month. I have tried it a few times. I came close once. I came within about 8,000 words of finishing. Yeah, 8,000 words. But anyway, other than that, I've always epically failed. And, oh, what? The audio's that bad out of sync? Oh, for God's sakes. It worked fine the other night. See? Oh, the audio's fine on your end. Oh, okay. Well, I don't know, man. I don't know, whatever the hell. Whatever. We're just going to go with it. I don't frickin' know, man. Anyway. Tonight, well, actually, okay, this afternoon, I got a writer's box with goodies for writers from Writerly Kits. And I was all like, cool, it's perfect, it's NaNoWriMo, I've got a writer's kit, I've done unboxings on the channel before. In fact, I've opened one of their boxes here on the channel before. And, man... So I was all like, okay, I'm going to stream tonight. I'm going to talk about this kit and everything else. Maybe I'll even pimp it out because they're a small, like, Canadian outfit. And then just as I'm about to stream this thing, CL says to me, did you unsubscribe to Writerly Kits? And I'm like, heck no. And then she says, because I just got an email saying you've been successfully unsubscribed. And now we don't even know if they're actually still in business. Maybe there's a note in this box. And I'm like waving a frickin' X-Acto knife around. I'm going to cut my nose off. Anyway, we really don't know what's in the box. And maybe there's something in here that says they're done, or maybe there isn't. I don't know. They did take a bit of a hiatus. COVID, of course, made everything garbage for everybody, so they kind of had to take a break for a bit. I do know that, but we're going to open this puppy up. We're going to see what's in it. We're going to talk a little bit about things. And there we go. It's fine on the phone, not on the TV. Well, that's just stupid. Stupid YouTube. Oh, I shouldn't say that. They'll demonetize me for sure. Anyway, all right. Okay, so, I don't know. Let's see if we can arrange this so you can kind of see it. So there's the box of stuff. I don't even know what all's in here. We're going to find out, though. Let's see. Alrighty, here we go. Welcome to your writer's brew. All right. This has been hard. Do you know how hard it is to put together the last Writerly kit? Oh. So it is the last one. Oh. Oh, well. Well, they have a thing in here about what this is, but... Okay, so I guess this is the last kit. Oh, well. What are these? Alright, so I guess I'll put this down on the ground in front of me, and I'll just pull stuff out, and we'll go for it. Okay, so, first of all, they have, writer's spells. So I guess this was, like, it came out, basically, they would have put it out at the end of October, so kind of like a Witch's Brew, Halloween type stuff. So, this first one says how to use these cards, and so basically, it's like a flip and pick. So it's got like characters, It's got topics. It's got genre and ending. And like basically, I guess you could either try it as a book in general, or you could just use this for like some flash fiction, that kind of thing. Like, that's pretty cool. Like, I'm good with that. I was actually thinking today that I should do some kind of like flash fiction stuff to get writing more. Because, I'm one of those really infamous type people that says that I like to write. And I did finish a 4-book series, which is pretty extraordinary for my useless self. But because I have a bad habit of starting projects and never finishing them. And that's kind of the story of all my other stories. Yeah, I'm start something and then I move on and I start something else. But flash fiction, it's short, it's easy, it's quick, and I'm thinking like I should do that just to get myself going. I'm one of those writers too that I become very critical of myself and of my ideas. And when I'm like, I'm just not feeling this, I just stop. And then I try to think of something new that I want to write. And well, the older you get, the less imaginative you are. Unless you keep that going. At least that's been my experience. So I got to try and keep that going. All right, let's see what else we got in the box. All right. Well, of course, they send coffee. Because anybody who's a writer, or have ever tried to write, especially people that try to do NaNoWriMo, you needs the coffee. Peru medium and smooth. Single origin coffee, ground, fair trade and organic. Oh, all right. How to brew. All right. It doesn't really say. Well, I mean, it's just like a medium blend. So, well, we'll give that a try and see how we like that. I've been doing more and more coffee here at home because the Starbucks is expensive. Too expensive. And everything's getting more expensive. It's dumb. So stupid. Anyway. Oh well. Okay. Anyway, let's keep going. Alright, what else is down here? Okay, what's this? Oh, so this is sort of like a about endings. Just write my damn ending. Story. Writer. No. You see, there's so many options. I have to think about it. Story. Enough thought. Just write one of the endings down. I'd like to know how I end. Writer. ... Story. Don't you want me to be done? Writer. Yes, of course. Maybe. Story. Maybe. Writer. What if you're shit and people make fun of me? Okay, anybody who has ever written anything, like, I think that is the soundbite of the night, man. It's like, right there. That is, I think, probably that is almost exactly what will either prevent me from writing something, an idea that I have, or getting further. I'm just like, bruh, it sucks. Anyway, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but, and then it's like getting your damn book done. That's been one of the themes of the writerly kits. And they kind of go over this whole thing. And they give you some ideas on the back here about how you can go about ending, like getting done, like actually progressing. And this is funny, and it's actually one of the things that, I'm a fan of Neil Gaiman. And that's actually one of the things that I have seen him often talk about with writing advice is, his biggest advice is finish something, right? Like finish it, get it done. Because only by going through all the steps of starting it and finishing it do you really learn a lot about writing. If you only ever are writing beginnings, you never really learn how to manage through the middle parts that can be a slog. And, you never learn about pacing. You never learn anything if you never finish. It's a hard lesson to learn, though. It really is. Hold on one second. I'm going to dip off the camera for a second. But my sinuses suck. You would think when it was snowing today, yes, it was snowing today. Of course, here in our part of Canada, the second it hits effing November, there is snow. You would think with snow that my allergies would not be so bad. They're crap. So crap. Anyway, let's move on. What else have we got? Wrapped all up in here. All right, we got, I don't even know what the hell. What the hell? Okay, I'm going to look at that in a minute. All right, we got a pen because, hey, you know, you need a pen. Oh, but I believe it's a red pen. Do I have paper here? Oh, nope, it's not red. Why does it say true red? Maybe that's a style. Anyway, oh, that's actually kind of a nice writing pen on it. Yeah, it's nice. It's always nice to have a good pen. I actually... Oh, I don't have my bag down here. I actually had CL, hook me up with a fountain pen. And I really like writing with fountain pens. It feels like, okay, again, I'm a 47-year-old man, but I like toys. And honestly, I really like a fountain pen because it makes me feel like I'm slightly fancier. Anyway, what the hell is this? All right, so this is peppercorns. Why the hell did they give me peppercorns? Drop a pepper on each writer's spell card to reveal a story wanting to be told. Write a story, a spell, a poem, and or a memoir of a peppercorn. Oh, okay, I see. So they're including the peppercorns if you want to do and I mean, obviously you can use non-food type stuff, but so basically the cards are big enough that you just kind of randomly drop something on it to let it roll around and land where it lands and guide you. I guess you could also do the whole close your eyes and hover or whatever you want to do. But, that's kind of a cool little idea. I'm all in for that. No, I don't know what is this? What is this? What's in the little envelope? They sent a little envelope and, oh my god, I can't get whatever it is in the little envelope. It doesn't want to come out. There it is. What the hell is this? Oh, it's a slide. Oh, and of course, you guys aren't going to be able to see jack crap what's in the slide. Hell, I can't see what's in the slide. Frank Barreline. Okay. I don't know. They do have a list of what's supposed to be in the box. That was the first note that I opened that I've now put underneath everything, and I don't know what it is. They do tell you what to use these things for. Alright, so oh, a fidget ring? Fidget ring. Oh, I see. Put it on your finger and you just kind of roll it around. Of course I chat. I'm really not flipping you off. That was not my intention. Jeez. Okay, photo slide prompt. Oh, I see. Okay, so use using slides is just and again, something else to kind of tip you off and give you an idea about what you're going to do. All right. Cool. All right. And finally, your damn book done. Well, we're going to open. It's another box, but I don't think I need to use it. Oh, where's it? Okay. The only trick to this one is finding out where the top of the box is. Oh, man. Oh, it's it's ceramic. That's the lid. Oh, it's okay. It's a cup. Because that's the lid. Oh. Oh. Okay. Mugs. And it says, Writer's Brew. Sip. Write. Repeat. 100%. Damn book done. Well, that's going to be my new favorite mug right there. Look at that. Oh, cool. But it also has, look at that. 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 It has one of those inserts that you can here. Boop-a-doop. right? Sits there, and then you put your lid on top, let it steep. Loose leaf stuff, whatever. Oh, that's pretty cool. I'm all for that. Sweet. That is a nice mug. I'm all for that. I love nice mugs. Especially, again, to like feed that whole coffee habit. Well, that's it for the box. That's, I'm kind of disappointed that they're done, because it's cool. I do enjoy that. And the fact, one of the ones that I got from one of those boxes was this book, Save the Cat Writes a Novel, which, if you know anything about Save the Cat, it was sort of like a ongoing sort of big thing about writing tips and a story format and everything else. So, I mean, they've had like a bunch of different stuff in the books, in the boxes. They had some books, they've had different things, but unfortunately, I guess it looks like they're done. So, that's the end of Writerly Kits. That's kind of, that's disappointing, honestly. Because there's really not much out there like that. You know what I mean? Like, there's really just like a whole bunch of junk food kits. Junk food and overpriced anime merchandise. Well, not even just anime merchandise, but like lots of fandom related merchandise. Yeah. Anyway, it's all good. All right. All right. And you guys are like having your own little chat in the chat. Well, good for you, chat. Good for you, chat. I'm glad you all are chatting away and getting along. Everybody just keep getting along. It's all good. Everything's good. Anyway. I'm going to play with this fidget ring. And I didn't put it on like a naughty finger this time. So yeah, guys, hey. How's it going, chat? How's it going, people watching? How you doing? Oh, I'll tell you, I don't know if there is such a thing as a big enough mug, or too big mug. Like, ugh. But then, you know what? I drink mostly coffee in the morning, and I am just not a morning person. I do not like getting up in the morning. I do not like having to start my day early. Oh. Yeah, anyway. But yeah, it's NaNoWriMo. I'm not doing NaNoWriMo right now, because I know that I'll fail epically. Yeah, because I don't know. Like I said, I've been thinking like flash fiction is a thing. And I've been thinking that I should try and do that kind of stuff. Just to do something a little bit different. I'm going to start flapping this pen around because, I don't know, I'm fidgety tonight. And I didn't even have any of this coffee or any other coffee before I started filming this. All right. How's it going, guys? How's it going, everybody? What you doing? I actually, I did agree to submit a short story to a anthology that's being put together, and my story's due like the 1st of December, and the person who's putting it together is somebody that I met at Anime North, and we've chatted for a bit throughout the years, and we just run into each other at conventions that are local, and I'm feeling really guilty because like I started writing something, and then like I have just pretty much ended up at this point that I always end up where I'm just kind of like, I don't know where this is going, and I don't know if I really like it. Oh, God. I mean, the story doesn't have to be long, so I just kind of have to get my collective crap together and actually do it and actually work on it. But, wow. Sergio, you're not too late. Like, you've only missed, I don't know how long I've been around for, like, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever. It's fine. It's all good. Everything's good. It's a good thing. Robin, you were asking if I was going to write here live on stream, and I got to be honest, I think that would be boring as hell for people to watch. Although I confess that I mentioned to CL that I was thinking that maybe I should try and figure out how to get some kind of writing content on this channel, because here's the thing. almost every single writer that I know, every indie author and stuff like that I know, either they do reviews or they do instructional videos like, here's your writing tips. And here's the thing. I have no problem giving my advice based on my experience, but I don't necessarily think that that's going to help a lot of people become amazing writers. And sometimes, I kind of feel like my advice is coming from more of a place of, hey, I had this crazy idea that I wanted to write a book series, and this is how I did it. Are the books good? I don't know. Some people like them. They've gotten pretty good, decent reviews on Amazon, thank God. But you know what? It doesn't mean that I'm an amazing writer or that I have wisdom that I want to impart. And I just don't really feel like I'm that guy. I feel more like I'm the guy who's still writing things. Like I got a membership to that like master class or whatever, or yeah, it's the one where it's got like Neil Gaiman and like, oh my God, my brain has totally blanked. R.L. Stein's on there. A whole bunch of different writers on there with different advice, and they do like a whole course almost. It's awesome to watch, and it's really cool and inspiring, and I'm so not that guy. And I mean, all of you know that I've done reviews of light novels, but, like right now I've been finding my reading time has been like totally non-existent. Totally non-existent. I actually bought the book, The Haunted Bookstore, because you all know that I was like totally wanting to read The Haunted Bookstore because the story sounded cool and the art of the book looked freaking awesome. Yes, I am one of those people that will gravitate towards a book because of the art. I may not necessarily read it if the interior is not good, but I will at least pick it up and read the first page or two, or at least read the synopsis. Anyway, that all said, I've read like the first 22 pages and I haven't read any more of it because I just don't really have time. And that kind of blows, but yeah. It's yeah. You guys are all writing stuff in the chat and I can't even keep up with it cuz like I'm awful. I can't. Here's the funny story. So I mean, I've been an ambulance dispatcher for almost 16 years. Now I've moved into the office, so I'm now like an operations manager, which is like a whole other kind of experience. But for almost 16 years, I have had to multitask like crazy. Like, I've got 30 ambulances I'm in charge of, sometimes like even more than that. Multiple calls coming in that I've got to monitor and get ambulances to and keep track of where the crews are and everything else. Like I multitask like ridiculous, like to the point that most science says that my brain should be like turned to jelly. And yet when I am not at work, I'm terrible I'm terrible. I'm terrible at multitasking. I'm terrible at time management. It's just like garbage. And yeah, I know it frustrates CL, and it should, because I'm not as helpful as I could be. But anyway, I do see you guys talking a little bit about stuff in the chat, and I was getting to the point where, man, I feel like a dog tonight. Squirrel. Anyway, I was telling CL that I wanted to bring more writing content to the channel. And she was actually coming up with some pretty cool ideas. And unfortunately, I'm just not smart enough to come up with some of the logistics. And my creativity levels right now are kind of at a very low ebb. So, but yeah, it's something that I would like to do. It's something that I think could be a lot of fun if we can figure something out. CL has all sorts of stunning ideas, and I am just awful at executing them. And then sometimes I'm an even bigger asshole, and like she'll tell me an idea and I'll be like, yeah, that sounds cool, and I'll do nothing with it. And then like a month later I'll be like, I've been thinking and this is what I should do. And she just kind of looks at me and she's like, yeah, that's the exact same thing I told you a month ago. And she's right. Like I can't lie. Sometimes I am like one of those thick-headed people that until I've let it run like the hamsters run in my brain long enough, I just don't really come around to like how I can do a thing. I think too that there's a bit of resistance in me to change. I fear it. Um, which I have to say, like, here's the thing, you know, playing some Minecraft on this channel has actually been really good for me in a lot of different ways. First of all, Minecraft, as much as it does kind of psych me out sometimes, and as much as sometimes I get a little stressed out because, you know, everything in that game wants you to die and lose all of your stuff. I do find it can be kind of chilling because it is a game with zero expectation. It's like, well, I died and I lost a lot of stuff and that sucks, but it's not like I can't just keep going. You know, it's not like one of those games where, you know, platformers or whatever, it's like, oh, you lost all your lives, start from the very beginning, you get nothing. But the one thing that I have found that I kind of like is that it has kind of taught me to chill the F out and try something new on the channel that's totally different and not be completely uptight and completely wound up that I'm losing subscribers. And whoo, baby, have I lost some subscribers. Like I laugh because, you know, if you don't laugh, you cry. But you know what? Like I kind of had to go through that. I kind of had to sort of say, like, you know what? It's okay to try something different. It's okay to try something new. And, you know, like, you just kind of have to let it go and accept that, you know what, not everybody's going to dig it. Not everybody's going to like what you do. And, you know, that kind of brings you right back to the whole writing thing, right? Is that, you know, lots of people, I've spoken to lots of people that are like, oh, I don't know what to write. And of course, I just told you earlier that I'm a really bad person to talk to about that kind of stuff. But I'm one of those people. I do have lots of ideas. I just don't know what to do with the ideas. And I start to doubt myself because I don't know what to do with the ideas. But people will be like, oh, I don't know how to come up with ideas. And I'm like, okay, well, you could try this and this and this and this and this and this and this. And they're like, well, I don't know whether that's the genre I want to write in. And I'm like, well, why are you worrying about genre? Like, who cares? Just write whatever's cool. Like, write whatever's good. Like, write what makes you happy, you know? And it's funny how you can give advice, but you're really garbage at taking it. Like I do take advice from people, but I just mean I'm garbage at taking my own advice or recognizing that maybe what I'm saying to this person I could apply to my own life. I don't think that's uncommon. I think lots of people go through that. But yeah, I really do kind of blow at letting go. Poetry, the rhymes, they come when you don't want them to. In any case, I guess what I'm getting at is that some of the lessons that I'm learning here on YouTube, I should just try to apply to other areas of my life. We should have karaoke night, though I don't know if Justice knows Frozen. I don't know. You know what? All I know is let it go. Let it go. And I don't even think that's the actual tune. I just know that anytime somebody says let it go, that's the one thing that I think of. And the only other one that I know is, do you want to build a snowman? And the only reason I know that is because back in the days before TikTok, when there was Vine, there were ridiculous amounts of Vines that would have that, and then they'd interject something funnier after the fact, or, you know what I'm doing? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Yes. Yes. Okay. Oh, boy. I'm just reading I'm reading some, like, you know, Frozen watch along. No, I am not. No. Okay. I freely admit that I want to just do some more stuff here on the channel that's not just light novels, like what I'm doing right now. You know, I opened a writer's kit and I'm shooting the breeze about writing, and you guys are shooting the breeze around writing and everything else. But I'm not ready to move into Disney or Frozen or anything else. Not to mention that the DMCA, like, people are going to come after me if I probably say too many, like, if I say a Disney name too many times. I'm going to be in big trouble. You know what? Here's the thing. I will say this. Frozen 2 had this song called Into the Unknown. And who the hell did the like pop version? Was it Panic at the Disco or something? It was catchy. Like, it was catchy. I'm not going to lie. I listened to it on repeat a few times. But the pop version, not the like actual from the movie version. I'm just saying. I got nothing against the movie, but you know. And interestingly enough, and now like, you know what? Do you want to punch a Nazi? Okay. Interestingly enough, so CL brought this to my attention the other day, and I was like, dang. So this is where like you do not want to talk too much about family friendly stuff. So we are subscribed to this artist, and he's a horror artist, and I cannot remember his name. CL, if you know the name, feel free to drop it into the comments there, because I don't, because I suck at that kind of stuff. But anyway, so one of his shticks is that he will buy like a cheap children's coloring book and turn the drawings into horror, into like monstrosities like blood, fangs, and all this kind of, it's actually really awesome. The guy is an amazing artist. Like his shading and it's just incredible, and he does it all pen work, right? So it is just awesome. Anyway, getting back to the point. So he did this one with this like really uber popular kids channel here on YouTube, and his video, they rated it as made for children, even though he's drawing like fangs on these things and like blood and gore and everything else. They were like, it's made for children. Jordan something. Yeah, I can't remember the last name, but like they made his video child friendly, even though he himself rated it as not for children, even though it says in the title, not for children. Even in the title, it says like horror and blood and like all this kind of stuff. And the thumbnail is like this horrified picture of like one of these characters with like fangs and blood and everything else. Thank you for putting it, Jordan Persigetti. Yeah. This guy's awesome. He does awesome work. And I mean, like I said, even if you're not into horror art, you got to respect his skill. His skill is like, I mean, the stuff he does with a pen is just awesome. And he's got a great voice to go with it. You should totally go check it out. In any case, I just thought this was hysterical. And now I'm sitting here going like, I can never talk too much about anything that's family friendly because, oh my God, can you imagine somebody rated one of my videos for kids? I can't. I mean, not that I am the most unfamily friendly person. I mean, I do not swear profusely. I mean, I do sometimes in streams, but I don't often in like actual videos. You know, I'm not really that bad. I don't show the naughty pictures in light novels, mostly because I'm not really a big fan of the fact that light novels have those kind of images. Don't get me wrong, there's some amazing art in some light novels, like actually the Haunted Bookstore. That artist did the, what the hell's the full title? The Duke's Daughter. It was like an otome thing where she comes back and it's like this horror world. Anyway, it's like the best, and the art is gorgeous in that book. And none of it is like fan servicey. It's just beautiful artwork, and it's the same artist. And when I found that out, I was like, oh, that makes so much sense to me now. Why I love the cover of these haunted bookstores, because I love the cover and the interior artwork of this like Duke's Daughter. It was just like so awesome. Like, oh, so awesome. Yeah. So well, and this is it exactly. Like, this is what I'm saying. Like, these are the things about the bots, right? Like, the bots in YouTube are messed up. Like, they look for random things. I'm pretty sure they try to do some kind of image recognition as well as words. And yet, yeah, you can have, like, that's what he was saying about his video. This video of his ended up in the made for kids section of YouTube. And it is so not made for kids. Like, not even a little bit. Like, He jokes when he makes his videos, and he's like, welcome to the most family-friendly art show on YouTube. And of course, it's all tongue-in-cheek, but holy crap. Oh yeah, accomplishments of the Duke's daughter, or yeah, something like that. Yeah. Yeah, you were saying that. Even Pewdiepie had to fight one of his videos to get it off of YouTube Kids. Pewdiepie, guys. Pewdiepie. Like, first of all, YouTube's own algorithm doesn't know who the hell Pewdiepie is, and doesn't realize that he's not family friendly. Like, are you effing kidding me? That's ridiculous. Ridiculous. Stupid. I can't. I can't. Again, allergies, garbage. Anyway, so yeah. But that's a whole other thing. Oh boy. Like, no, I'm not into the Yeshi novels. I don't have a problem with like more like Japanese novels aimed like that are actual novels aimed at adults, but I don't want them to be adult. Like, no, no, that's okay. Y'all can have those, but I ain't gonna read them. I like, yeah. And now I'm like sitting. That's just thrown my chain of thought. Like, I've been like going blah, 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 this whole time, and then it's like, oh no. Yeah. So but writing is fun. I just think that writing is one of those sort of cathartic experiences. And it is really like one of those ups and downs that you go through. Like, you know, I struggled like hell, like writing the 4 books. And you know, what's really funny is that I'm just going to talk about it because what the hell, I'm here, right? I'm here. And it's my channel, so I can just talk about whatever the hell I want. So I wrote this 4-book series. It's called The Bleeding Worlds. It's listed under my name if you feel like going to Amazon. Or you know what? I've even got links in the description down below if you want to pick it up or read it. The first ebook, I think, is like only 99 cents. It's really cheap. It's really affordable. And if you hate it, you never have to talk about it to anybody. If you like it, though, please leave a nice glowing review. It would help me out a lot. Pimp that stuff, man. It's my channel. Pimp it. Anyway, moving on. But when I wrote the first book of that, like, I just kind of got it into my head that I was like, I got to write something, and I want to write this. And I was totally dedicated to the idea of finishing a book. Because I'd had lots of false starts over the years. And it took me like 2.5 years to finally finish the first book. And that's like including editing and everything else. And so I decided, you know what? I'm going to put it out into the world. What the hell? And it actually did okay. And then I was like, okay, well, I've set up the sequel. And it only took me 9 months to write the second one. And I was like, wow. And the second one actually, I would say, got better reviews than the first one. So I was like, oh, awesome. And then I hit the third book, and that took about another 2.5 years to write. And then I think the fourth and final book took like 3 years. Like, I think it was basically 7 years from the time book 1 released to the time book 4 released overall. So I'm not very fast at writing. But you know what I discovered, though, is that the more that I felt pressure about trying to deliver something that other people would like, the slower everything became. So it was like, when I wrote the first one, I was just kind of puttering away at it. And there was no expectations, right? Like, I was just kind of like, I just want to write something. I just want to get something done. You know, it had been a big dream of mine to write a book for like, the longest time. And I just would putter away. And if I didn't write anything for like a month or whatever, then I was like, whatever, right? And so I moved on. And you see, yeah, like the Souls games. Yeah, like I agree. Like let's get some really like cool, dark, hard fantasy, not this fluffy isekai stuff or, the like, it's fantasy that might as well be an isekai because it's written in the same fluffy way. They just didn't bother to make it an isekai. Probably because the contest they were entering wouldn't allow isekais. Anyway, whatever. Isekai rants off for another day. Anyway, I wrote the first book. The second book, I felt really inspired. And I was coming off this high that I had finished this first book and that people actually bought it. And I was like, oh, yeah. And then I would get in the second book and I write. I was like, oh, I'm just going to cruise. And I like cruised through it. And I thought, wow, there's like some good stuff in this book. And I was actually kind of impressed with myself that I wrote what I wrote. And then when it got kind of better reviews than the first one, I just hit a big ass wall. And I was like, I had an idea where the story had to go, but man, I did not really have it plotted out very well. And I did find that the dips and the hills and valleys that you go through when you're writing that, when the ideas are flowing, it feels amazing. And like when you go back and you actually read stuff and you're like, damn, that's actually pretty good. Like it builds you up, right? But then you start doubting yourself. And then also you start worrying about the whole idea that, it becomes more of a business than it does enjoyment. You know what I mean? It's like, then it becomes like a business. You're kind of like, oh, now I've got to have an author platform and I've got to do this. And oh, what if they don't sell and blah, blah, blah. And if the last book in the series tanks, nobody will want to read anything else by me. And of course, I'm talking so much and I forgot to bring water down because I'm an idiot. You'd think I'd learn by now. You'd think I'd learn. But no, not at all. Anyway, all that said, I'm just saying, like, writing is a very interesting experience. And I really do advocate that you should write what you want to write. And you should write for yourself. And that becomes so hard to do because so much of the internet is filled with all this frickin' advice. Oh, you got some popcorn there, Pokem Bloom? That's nice. I do like popcorn. But you know what I mean? Like, you really have to write for yourself. You have to write what you enjoy. And I just kind of feel like if you start writing for other people, it becomes a problem because you start playing all these head games. And so much of it is based on just bullshit that you don't know. It's just stuff you're imagining. Oh, someone come to rescue me. Oh, thank you. God bless you. Oh. Oh, so much better. Oof. It's all good. And runny noses. Streams raw and uncut. Raw and... Dungeon of Black Company. Isn't that a manga? Or is that like a light novel series? I'm not familiar with it. Rings a bell. But yeah. All right. Oh. I've been like going. Oof. I'm trying. I know I'm bad at keeping an eye on chat. I know. I almost need like a headset on to have like CL yell at me in my ear that, dum-dum, look at the chat. Dum-dum, people are talking to you and you're not saying anything. Dum-dum. And I'm not saying that she insults me. I'm just saying that's my own thinking of my own self. She'd be more likely just to be like, dude, Dude. Okay, so it is a manga. Yeah, okay, good. I thought that was a manga. And because I was like, I'm sure I've heard some fairly decent things about it, but I was pretty sure if it was a light novel, I would have I would have read it at some point, or at least read one of it, but you know, blah blah. Yeah. There you go. Ooh. You know, when you get that persistent dry spot in the back of your throat? Holy God. Sucks. All right. Fave non-light novel books. Well, a lot of them are somewhat Neil Gaiman oriented. Neverwhere by Neil Gaiman is one that I really loved. And also his book, The Ocean at the End of the Lane. Love those ones. There's a actually really awesome series that was a Russian series, but it's been adapted, but has been translated into English, called Night Watch. It's like Night Watch, Day Watch, Dusk Watch, and then Twilight Watch, I think is the 4 books in the series. They're older. I don't even know if they're still in print. But those books were cool, man. And they did do two movies, they did Night Watch and Day Watch. First movie was cool. Second one was, it was okay. I'm sorry, I'm choking, everybody. And I've almost finished my water, and it's just like, it's not been sufficient. What else have I liked? You know how, like, you spend, like, I'll be honest, I've spent 7 years doing light novels on this channel. 7 years, man. And I'll be honest, in that 7 years, I have read almost nothing but light novels. Which is why, like, I'm having a hard time remembering what stuff I used to read, because I read it so long ago. I'm dying. Blah, blah. Not COVID. I'm fully vaccinated and I wear a mask and wash my hands like hell. Because I'll tell you, that was another experience as an ambulance communicator. I actually listened to people call in that were having bad cases of COVID. That shit sounded way too scary, and I was like, no. I am not getting that. God, no. Anyway. No politics. No talking about COVID. Fuck that stupid. Anyway. Like I said, sometimes I swear on stream. I don't do it in my videos. I usually cut it out. Although, you know what a really good, like a really, really good short book is that I absolutely loved was The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. That stuff, that book, man, that was like one of those books that I just read, and like you get to the end of it, and it is like one of those like, holy crap moments when you get to the end of it. It's like profound. Oh, love it. Love it, man. Love it. Love it. That's a great book too, yeah. Paulo Coelho. Actually, Paulo Coelho's written a couple of good books, but The Alchemist by far is like my favorite. And like I said, it's relatively short. It's easy to just kind of slam through. But yeah, it's good stuff. Really good stuff. So, yeah. I know, I said you wouldn't call me dumb. I don't even have my cell phone down here, so yes, you're right. I'm not checking my texts because I don't have my cell phone. I'm sorry. So if you're sending me offline messages, I can't do anything. Yeah. Oh, yeah, oh my God, when a monster calls. Was it When a Monster Comes Calling, or is it just When a Monster Calls? I think it's When a Monster Calls. Again, on my phone. And I'm out of water. God. My planning for these things sucks. Anyway. Yeah. The one about the boy who this monster shows up at his house. Oh my God, it was so good. And the artwork in it was like all just ink, like pen artwork. Oh my God, it was beautiful. Great book. great art, really good story, really good message and idea to it. And yeah, no, that one, you're right. CL. See, CL, I'll tell you guys something right now. CL, like, she's big into audiobooks now. So she still listens to like tons and tons of books. But she also has been a voracious reader for pretty much all that I've known her. Oh my Lord. And probably for much longer than I've known her. But so she's way better read than I am. And I would say that she probably has a better handle on remembering what she's read than I have. I'm actually really bad at keeping like titles, authors, like all that kind of stuff. Man, it's like so hard to, I can't. I'm very, very bad at it. The Long Earth by Pratchett? No, I have not. In fact, I think the only Terry Pratchett book that I've read was his one that he did with Neil Gaiman called Good Omens. But look, I has popcorn. Man, I did not expect this to turn into an ASMR video when I started this, but hey, here we are. Ha! Ha! Here we are. Anyway. It's not bad, actually. President's Choice. Purple Kernel microwave popcorn. All right. That'll do. That'll do. Yeah. Excuse me. Yes, very nice. Now, I do believe I saw somebody ask here. Did I have my whole story planned out? Yeah, I was going to talk about that. Not entirely. I am much more, well, I've historically been like a right by the seat of my pants kind of person, which is part of the reason why I'm so slow, because I get stuck and then I'm like, I don't know where to go from here. Pardon me. I don't think anybody wants to watch me wipe my nose. Apologize if you see that. Anyway, like what I kind of do, or well, I did with my first series, and I really kind of want to avoid doing it with any future writing because I kind of want to actually get more planning done. But basically, like, I knew where the story kind of started. I knew where I kind of wanted the story to end, and I knew that there were a couple of places along the way, but I had no idea how I was going to get to all those points. And I'll be honest, like, holy crap, it's 4:50 a.m. where you are? Holy jumping. And my camera's doing the weird shit again. My camera's doing the weird crap again. Oh, come on. Well, that's just ducky. Why are you doing that, camera? Okay, you're going to lose video feed for a moment. Because I'm all like freaking out on camera here. Oh, come on, you stupid thing. Yeah, I don't know why it's doing that. Like, okay, so hopefully the audio continues. Doot doot doot. Nope. You're all going to see that I use a GoPro. Oh, there we go. I use a GoPro. Now you know. I actually really like my GoPro. It's really handy that it's so small and I can just use it for different things. Except when it freaks the hell out. That's no fun. I know, the Halloween glitch. It's continuing. Well, I'm glad the audio continued to work, so at least you didn't think I just disappeared. That is the one advantage to having separate, like, audio and video feeds for the stream, so that at least, you know, if one goes crazy, you can all see that I'm still here. Clueless. Although I did notice it a lot faster this time, I think, than I did the last time when I was reading another. Hence why we call it the Halloween glitch. Because it's like the first one. It's the first time that it freaked out like that on Halloween. While I was reading the story, that at the very beginning, they're like, it's cursed. You get cursed if you tell this story. Nah. Yeah. So anyway, yeah. Story, not a lot of planning. And I'll be honest, the second book that I said I was so proud of, turned out nothing like what I had planned. I had very different ideas going into that second book. Very, very different plans. It probably would have been a very different series if I had continued that way, but... Like, I kind of feel like it's good to have a plan, but the plan should have at least enough freedom in it that it doesn't totally derail everything if you decide to go in a different direction, or, you know, it just feels like natural to continue on in a different direction. You know, the thing that drew me to light novels initially, well, first of all, was anime, obviously, because some of them were series that were anime that I had liked, and of course the anime just ended without there being an end to the story. And then the other thing that I liked about light novels, and this was a purely like just life thing, most of the time that I was reading at work. And, you know, the job is a 12-hour shift, days and nights, and you literally can't leave your desk. Like, you have a headset on, which is attached to a cord, which is attached to the desk. Like, the only time you leave your desk is, like, to pee and go on your break. Sometimes you don't even pee until your break. So, but the thing is that it's one of those jobs that if nothing's happening, you have nothing to do. So at 3 o'clock in the morning, when you're not getting as many calls, you got nothing to do, but you're still at your desk. So one of the things that I liked about light novels is that they were one of those books that I could really easily just like put down, because you're constantly being interrupted. You know, you read for a few minutes and then the phone rings. So you put them down, answer the call, go back. When I was reading more like, you know, standard novels, I found that it was a lot harder. Like, I would find that I'd read the same page or same paragraph like 4 or 5 times, because you'd read, you'd put it down, you'd go back, you'd get busy, you wouldn't get back to it for 20 minutes, and then you kind of pick it up and you'd be like, where the hell was I? And of course, the print on light novels is usually bigger because, of course, they're trying to make it fill more pages. So it was just easier to read, and it was easier to get into, and it was easier to put down, and easier to just get back into if I was into, like, that kind of stuff. And I think too, like, there are some light novels, not all of them, far from all of them, but there are some light novels that have kind of cool ideas and kind of genre, like, straddling ideas. Like, there's, I kind of feel that, I think the problem is, okay, so a little more backstory. So I was reading quite a bit of young adult novels before I got into light novels. So you can kind of see where there's a little bit of like a transition to move into. But I kind of feel like light novels as a thing don't have as many rules about, well, you're not allowed to do this because you're writing a sci-fi novel, or you're not allowed to do this because you're writing a fantasy novel, or you're not allowed to do this because you're writing a slice of life novel. Like the one thing that I will say about light novels is, and much the same like anime does it as well, is that genre is not as well defined. And the fan base, for the most part, really doesn't give a crap. They're like, is it a good story? Is it cool? Well, then we're good. I would say those are the things that probably drew me to light novels. And then, like, to be really frank, once I started actually getting subscribers and views on YouTube and actually making more than 80 cents a month in ad revenue, because that was literally where I was at before I started this. Again, it becomes like a business, right? So, like, again, you end up kind of doing it not even just because you like it anymore, but you're doing it because you're making money and because you're having some success. And I'll admit it, like, for whatever reason, that, like, validation of feeling like you belong somewhere, like, that's something that I've really struggled with, like, over the years, like, that feeling that I just never really belonged. That sense that, like, I would see people get so into something and they'd be, like, so passionate about it. And I'm like, man, I don't know if even the things that I've been most passionate about in my life, I don't think I've, So, like, I've really dealt a lot with that whole, like, imposter syndrome and poser, like, feeling like a poser and stuff like that. And honestly, I still feel that way even in the light novel community. But I think that the light novel community, at least enough people were kind of, like, liking what I was doing that I felt, like I kind of had a place. But was it really the place that I wanted to be? Was it the place that I should have been? Was it the place that, like, I want to be forever? Like, again, like, I'm a little burned out. I haven't really done a lot with light novels. I'm doing some quick, easy videos just to kind of keep that on the channel. And, once in a while, yeah, a book will come up that'll be like, yeah, I do want to read that. It does sound like it's actually decently written and a good book. And, sure, people call it a light novel, but, you do get books that, like, they call them light novels, but really, they could have just been a novel. Like, they could be just lit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Sex scenes in books. Like, I won't say I'm against them to the point where I'm like, oh, I will never read a book if it has a sex scene in it. I did read J.K. Haru, but J.K. Haru, like, I like that book more for what it did away from those scenes. And I mean, and in a way, like, you can tell that the author wasn't doing it to try and, like, fan service it. I'm not into fan service. Like, I think that's my thing. Like, you know, if the author's, like, has two characters have sex, then whatever. I mean, that happens in every, like, there's tons of books that have that. I mean, that's not even light novels. Like, that's English literature, you know? But the question is it gratuitous, and is it being done just for the sake of trying to get, you know, some kind of fetish out of it, or get, like, enticed by it or whatever? That kind of thing, I'm not really into. That's my feeling. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Um, so a few things I've seen pop up in the light in here. Um, like, I mean, light novels and novels, it's not just the size. Like, I mean, I think it's the intent. Like, I was very much in favor of defining light novels as the audience that it's determined for and the intention behind it. Like, light novels are very much written for people that are fans of light novels or fans of anime, fans of video games. Like, they mean it for that audience. And they're also writing it in a way that they want it to be easily consumed, and they want it to be, like, serialized so that you keep coming back for it. Like, it's the same thing as, like, it's like a genre unto itself. And it's the same thing as, like, when we talk about, like, the old pulp novels. I mean, other people have made associations between, like, the history of pulp novels in the early, like, 1900s to light novels. And it's very much the same. Like, I kind of feel like novels are written to tell a story, and they're written in the hopes that the audience will find them. Light novels, I feel, are kind of a little bit more manufactured. They are written for a specific audience, and they are meant to try and hook that audience for a much longer time than a novel. And obviously there's exceptions. I'm not saying that this is a hard and fast rule that applies to every light novel in the entire world, but that seems to be the way. And honestly, at this point, light novels too, it's like an ad gimmick. Like, they just slap, like, manga style art on a book and call it a light novel. And honestly, there have been books that have been quote unquote called light novels that were not light novels. They were books. They were novels. They were lit. But again, you know, like, light novels have become such a big thing that they slap, like, this art on it. I mean, even taking a look at, like, the paperback list on Oricon, you can see that there are novels even that they're using, like, that more manga stylized artwork to sell them. And I kind of suspect that those books, and again, I don't know because they haven't been translated, but I kind of wonder if that's a publisher trying to basically transition people from light novels into more lit. You know what I mean? No, there's no sex in my books. I mean, it's certainly implied that some characters have had sex, but there's no sex scenes. First of all, I just didn't think it fit. Second of all, I just think I would be garbage at writing it. garbage. Garbage. I'm just taking a look at the comments here to see what's going on. Do I think Vertical will localize Monogatari off-season? Nope. Was I maybe too blunt? Well, let's put it this way. Vertical will not localize more Monogatari until they either A, have decided that they're through licensing any other Nishio Ishin series, or B, no, actually, that's pretty much it. Like, I think you'll see that Vertical will license other Nishio books, and if they get to the point where they're kind of like, I really don't think any of those other Nishio books will sell, that is when they'll release the off-seasons. But I really, honestly, at this point, I think they're done. I think again, like, they essentially licensed that series to a natural ending point, and the point that was the ending point initially, and they're kind of like, this is a good place where we can just let it go. That said, they did do 3 box sets, and I can't imagine why the hell they would spend the money to commission the artwork and the box and pay for all that if the series didn't do well. So that's kind of my thing. Oh God, CL. We will never, ever talk about an earlier story that I wrote that had a sex scene in it. Let us just say that I have ample proof that I am awful at writing sex scenes. You will never read a book by me with a sex scene in it. So there you go. My mother would be so ashamed that I'm sitting here on camera in front of, like, people eating in front of them. She'd be like, how rude. At the same time, popcorn's good, like, even if it's kind of cold, but I still do prefer it when it's not, like, stone cold. Oh, I dropped some. Gonna make a mess down here. Like, I mean, I don't know if it's popular enough. Like I said, like, you know, obviously it did well to a certain extent. I mean, my God, like, they had to reprint the box sets I don't know how many times. I just kind of feel like, how do I put this? It was just the impression I got. Because I actually, like, Vertical gave me the Monogatari books. Vertical was actually really amazing with me. Like, I really need to, I really need to finish reviewing everything that they sent me. Because Vertical was really good. Before, like, Yen Press, J Novel Club, anybody else noticed me, Vertical was like, hey, do you want to review the Monogatari books and we'll send them to you? And they were phenomenal. And one of the guys who works there, he and I would chat and stuff. And yeah, I mean, just the conversation that we had, I'm not giving you any insider information because he didn't tell me like anything outright. He was just kind of like, yeah, we're just going to let the series rest for now. Basically. Which, I mean, is what you guys see anyway. So it's not like he said anything to me that you can't already know. But it was just the way that he kind of said it that I was just kind of like, I feel like the translation of the Monogatari series in particular was very challenging, which is why they had to use sort of 2 translators. And I kind of feel like maybe they were like, the amount of time and effort that we're putting into them is maybe not what we want to do right now. And let's remember too, like, right now they could leave Monogatari as it is, pardon me, and it's in a complete series. Like, it does end. So if they're licensing any more Monogatari, they're going to have to basically be on the hook to license the rest of what Nishio Ishin writes. You know what? As I sit here thinking about it, here's my prediction. This is my prediction for the Monogatari series. I could be totally wrong. Totally wrong. Okay? But this is my thing. I think if Nishio Ishin actually ends Monogatari, I think if he is like, this is it, there will never be another Monogatari book again, and finishes it, that is the point that I kind of think that it could potentially get licensed. Because then they'll know how many books there are left to license. You know what I mean? Like, you got to remember, like, the few things that when I've talked to some people, like whether it be Sam over at J Novel Club, Tomo at Vertical, some of the guys over at the Yen Press and stuff, and at Cross Infinite World, that's the one thing that they all talk about, right? Is that when you license a light novel, nobody's looking to be the next Tokyo Pop. You know what I mean? And I think somebody actually already mentioned that, like, Soul Press has already gone the way of the dodo. But, that's a whole other conversation. But yeah. I'm sure I saw somebody mention something about Soul Press. Did I miss it? Oh yeah, is now FTB forfeited. Yeah, suspended or forfeited by the Franchise Tax Board. Yeah. Yeah. So nobody wants to be the next Tokyo Press or the next Soul Press. Oh God. Anyway, I mean, here's the thing. You figure too, like, so guys that are big companies, so like your Yen Press, now J Novel Club, that are now actually majority owned by Japanese publisher Kadokawa, they have a reputation, you know what I mean? And like, bombing out of a series is just not a good look, right? Like, it does not look good. And publishers in Japan are, especially after the whole Tokyo Pop thing, like, there's still titles that the rumor on the street is that you can't get them licensed here in English because of how they got screwed over by Tokyo Pop. And nobody wants to be in that position, especially now that the market's becoming more competitive and everything else. And so these companies, it costs a lot of money, man. It costs a lot of money, it takes a lot of time. You really can't pump out volumes of light novels the way you do manga. And let's face it, manga is still like a way bigger market than light novels. So I think there's a lot of risk aversion. And the only reason that we get some weird titles that we're like, what the hell is that? I think is because of pressure from the actual Japanese parent company. Now, again, it's entirely possible that Vertical will release more. Like, I believe Vertical is partly owned by Kodansha. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure. Because I seem to remember thinking that was why they had Nishio Ishin. But, at this point, there's not a lot of reason for Vertical to license more Monogatari until the series is done. That's my feeling. I don't know. CL bringing up all the food titles. Yeah, Waka Kozaki was really good. Straight up. I don't think you can see it in English anymore because I think we watched that on Crunchyroll, didn't we? And I don't know if it's on there anymore. Anyway. So yeah, Soul Press, it looks like, has gone kaplooey. I don't think there's much to say about that. That's not all that surprising, honestly. I think most of us saw that coming from a long time ago. Actually, I think we talked about that on a light novel podcast episode ages ago. And we were like, these guys, like, they're trying to license visual novels, light novels, manga, right out of the gate. And if you guys follow anybody who deals with visual novels online, they all say that is a risky, risky business. Like, it is not a big money earner. But yet you're pouring out tons of cash. So I just think Soul Press tried to do too much too fast. And I don't think that they had a great reputation as a business, even among, like, people in the business. I mean, I don't want to slag on them. I'm sure there's some people there that, are in some crappy times because they're losing income. I don't wish that on anyone, but at the same time, yeah, it doesn't really surprise me too much. I'm just eating popcorn, sorry. Yeah, rip Kino's journey. Yeah, I'd say yes. Well, I mean, I don't know what you're going to see happen with Soul Press. I mean, maybe some of their titles will be picked up because some of there's like sort of that, like, some of their titles are more like popular current, like they're more current titles. Like they had that one by Funa, the Saving 80,000 Gold. And I mean, Funa's a pretty hot property, so I could see maybe somebody rescuing that. I don't know about Chivalry. I know a lot of people like that. I know a lot of people were happy that it was getting licensed, although a lot of people were dreading the fact that it was licensed by Soul Press. Turns out they were right to feel that way. I can't say I'm too super hyped about reading Chivalry. I mean, clearly I haven't even read it yet. But I know a lot of people really like that series, and we're really hopeful that they be able to get it in English. But yeah, I don't know if you're going to see that one get rescued, because considering like that it hadn't been picked up by anybody else up until Soul Press got it, I was kind of like, I don't know. I guess it'll just depend on how much fans cry and scream for it. But the problem too, though, is that some of these licenses, like, depending on how the terms were, I mean, they could hold the license. Like Soul Press could hold the license for a couple of years. Again, depending on how the terms of the contract were. Like, I mean, if Soul Press failed to deliver on their contract, then the whole thing could be null and void. But, hey, Norwa, then you need to look at, like, Tentai. Tentai's all about the, like, rom-coms. Yeah. So, Anyway, I don't know. We'll see. Like I said, it'll all depend on what the terms of their contract were. It'll depend what it's going to cost to rescue those licenses. I mean, who knows? Who knows? I would not expect to see anything rescued from them for a while. So, anyway, that's how it is. Although, happily, smaller companies like Cross Infinite World and Tentai seem to be doing okay. Tentai, I know, has had some hiccups, but that's all been, from what I can tell, all been caused by stuff that was beyond their control, like some health problems and stuff like that. But they're alive and kicking, I can tell you that. Like, without divulging any really insider information, Tentai's actually growing behind the scenes and improving their systems and improving their distribution. And I think they're going to come out, and I think in the next year they'll probably surprise people with their consistency. And again, if you're looking for rom-coms, I think they're really going to be the company that's taking a risk on a lot of the newer stuff that's maybe not as well known. I know Alex, back when he started Tentai and talked to us on the podcast, he was like, he really wanted to bring more rom-coms. So, yeah. And Cross Infinite World, I mean, same thing, right? Small company. Started off by actually licensing web novels directly. And now they're starting to license from existing Japanese publishers. So they're growing, and they've added a bunch of translators. Like, it used to be basically like a one-person show, from what I can see. Like, basically the person who owned the company did all the licensing, would read the web novels, decide on the one that they wanted to license it, translate it, hire the artist to do the artwork, like the whole thing. And some of those, like, and Cross Infinite Worlds titles, because they were web novels, they were big. Like, I mean, your average light novel, anywhere about 50,000 words. Cross Infinite World was putting out single volumes that were like 90,000, 100,000+ words. Like, you got to give them credit where credit's due. And the fact that they've survived, I would say, more than, and that they're growing, really speaks to it. And I have respect for smaller companies that, try to not only go into the market, but are going into the market with stuff that is a little bit different and is sort of bringing things to fans that the big players probably won't, because the big players are looking at big commercial stuff. Whereas, J Novel Club, when they first came out and were an indie, they did the same thing, right? Took a lot of risks on small titles that nobody had heard of. And some of them really paid off for them because they've now become big titles. Yeah. Yeah, Cross Infinite World is now starting to do more print. They actually started, now they're getting a couple titles in audiobook. Like I said, like, watch out for Cross Infinite World. It strikes me that they've got some good stuff coming. And like I said, I know Tentai's working behind the scenes on a lot of stuff. The biggest problem that we don't talk a lot about, or that I think fans don't realize, is just how much control Japan has over when publishers can announce titles, when they can release titles even. Like, I've talked to Alex about a few things, and like, it's wild, like they'll have titles that they're working on, that they've licensed, they're working on, and the publisher's like, nope, you can't announce it. You can't announce it until, like, they'll have all these conditions because Tentai is smaller, right? And they have no Japanese parent associated with them. So it's like, yeah, you can't announce it. Like, I mean, this isn't a specific example. So I'm not telling you anything that Alex has said to me in confidence. I'm just for instancing. But for instance, let's say, the publisher's like, yeah, until you can produce, like, actually show us the translated book, we're not even going to allow you to announce that you've licensed it. And they have no choice but wait. I mean, I'm not sure if that's a specific condition, but I just know that until the publisher gives their blessing that, yes, they can announce it, and then again, the publisher is like, you can't release it until we've seen, like, the translation, until we've seen, like, the formatting, like, all that kind of stuff. Like, it's just ridiculous. Oh yeah, you're right, CL. The one about the restaurant of the, what was it? The Outsiders restaurant or something. Yeah, they called it Diner in the first one, which made more sense, but then the Japanese publisher didn't want them to call it that. It's just like yeah. I mean, it's kind of weird how, like, I think, like, we're very driven as a capitalist society in the West, that it's kind of like, as long as the money is right, you can do what you want. But Japan is still very, very risk adverse. And it seems to me, from my conversations with people and seeing the hoops that companies jump through, especially, like I said, ones that aren't already associated with a Japanese publisher, like, there's a lot, man. Like, they do not want their stuff to look bad. They don't want their stuff to sound bad. They don't want to take any risk that someone is going to ruin their reputation. Like they really don't, they don't see it as a thing of, like, if a company puts out a crappy translation, I don't think the Japanese, or like puts out a crappy looking product. The Japanese publisher, I don't think they see it that North American audiences are going to be like, or Western audiences are going to be like, well, that's a crappy localization company. They feel like that reflects on them, and that it's them that allowed a bad product to be put out. And, it's, again, different culture. You know what I mean? And it makes it hard, like, honestly, for small companies to succeed. Like, I think that was one of the reasons that Cross Infinite World originally started with web novel stuff. Not only was it going to be obviously cheaper to license, but it allowed them to really have control over the product, because the only person they had to get to say okay was the author. Like, they just went to the author and were like, hey, this is the artwork we're doing. The author's like, cool, awesome, good. Life is done. And because you're publishing directly with an author, I mean, I don't know if any of you have ever looked into author contracts. And I'm not saying Cross Infinite World is like this, because I don't know. But, when you're an author and you get a license, like, you give up a lot of rights. Like, usually you don't have control over the artwork. You don't have control over the cover. You don't even have control over the translation. I think Cross Infinite World has worked very closely with its partners and with its authors. I don't think they're like that. But I'm just saying that it makes it a lot easier. There's nowhere near the bureaucracy that you have to jump through. Like, it's just, yeah. Well, you're right, Hutch. And I mean, the other thing too is that, let's remember, a lot of these contracts, the Japanese company's making money with the copies sold. So if nobody wants to buy the Western copies because they're crap, that's Japan company losing money too. they could have licensed it to somebody else who maybe would have done a better job and would make more money, right? But, I mean, Kadokawa just announced that they're going to start pubbing their own stuff, right? Now, that's kind of sus because apparently they're using some like outside third-party company that's known for kind of paying garbage wages and not exactly doing the greatest jobs. So I'm a little worried about that. But, damn. Yeah, it's pretty bad. Anyway, we'll see what happens. I mean, like, nonetheless, like manga, light novels, anime, all that kind of stuff, every market. I mean, we don't even have to talk about just like Japan and like just the stuff like, anime, light novels, manga. We can talk about anything. Every company is changing. We just live in a different world right now, and every company is trying to adapt, and every company is trying to make more money, and every company is realizing that people aren't just parting with their bucks the way they used to because everything is so stupidly expensive. And so companies are like, how do we, what do we do? For Kadokawa, they're like, well, English fans keep screaming that they want light novels faster. They don't want to be so behind. Okay, well, we'll deliver it directly chapter by chapter. Like much the way that J-Novel Club has done, and why J-Novel Club has managed to, for the most part, be caught up with a lot of the series they have. So, I mean, it's just like, I don't know, man. Like, everything is changing. The book publishing industry in the Western society is changing. We're seeing more and more amalgamations and companies shutting down, companies just having their catalogs bought out and the company itself shuts down. Like, there's all this stuff going on. It's just like, that's just the way things are going. Like, yeah. Yeah. A few years ago, I don't know. Like, I will say, yeah, a few years ago, I had this idea that I wanted to have my own light novel company. Yeah. But, uh, but you know what? I quickly decided that wasn't really realistic. First of all, because, aside from the money, money is always a thing. Money is always a problem. But aside from that, I realized that, like, I would want to license very specific things that, because I don't speak Japanese and I don't read Japanese, I would never really know what I was getting, or I would never really know how good a translation was, and I would never really know what kind of quality I was really doing. And that's a huge problem. And even if you're hiring people you trust, you know what I mean? Like, how are you picking up a title that you can really get behind if you can't read it? So that just was, yeah. I will say that, like, I much more wanted to try and do like a bit of an indie publishing company, and not anything specific. Pardon me, not even like, not necessarily, oh, this genre, or, if I can't do Japanese light novels, I'll do original English light novels. Like, it wasn't even that. I just wanted to help, like, release and promote good stuff, and stuff that, again, kind of like light novels in that they break genre. That they would be the kind of things, like, I would love to put out the kind of books that other bigger companies would be like, well, we don't know how to market that, so we're not going to. You know what I mean? Like books that when you read them, you're like, my God, this is amazing. But I know why a big company turned it down. Because it isn't easy to just wrap a bow on it and say, here you go. It's, and yes, Hutch, you're right. Exactly. Acquisition, mergers, it's not just publishing. It's just completely going on everywhere. Yeah, totally. So, yeah, I mean, I mean, like, again, like an indie publisher for original English light novels, I mean, I just wouldn't want to limit myself that way. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying I would never publish something that could be classed as an original English light novel, but again, it's that idea of wanting to sort of have a personal stake in what you're publishing. Like, I don't think I would ever want to become a publisher for something that I didn't know what it was and that I hadn't read and gone, oh my God, this is like a thing, you know? So, what sort of books are hard to market for? Well, I mean, take a look at what's being put out, right? Like, a lot of it's, well, I mean, you know, Hutch, like, even saying like indie publishers are looking for stuff that they might be able to market into other media for the money. I mean, but that's the same thing with big publishers. You know what I mean? Like, I agree. And I'm not saying that big publishers will never take a risk on a risky book, but I don't think they provide the level of support for those authors that they do for authors that they know that they can make big bank off of, or that they can make a lot of money because they can license it to Netflix or movies or what have you. And I think that that's kind of the thing is like a lot of books that they're easy to market because they don't cross numerous genres. Like, you know, when I say a book that's hard to market, I mean like it's a book that you read it and you're kind of like, this is amazing. And when somebody said to you, like, what kind of reader will like this book? You're kind of like, I don't know. And I think that's kind of the thing. You know what I mean? Yes, Salty, you missed the box, but it's all good. Once I turn this off, it'll be up for replay. You can watch it. What time is it? Holy crap. It's 10 after 10. I think I've been talking for almost 2 hours. How did that happen? Crazy. Yes, there is actually companies for original English light novels. Although, off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you what they're called. But I know there are some. There's one company, what the hell's it called? Novel Horizons, I think, or something like that. Anyway, I just know that they do Kickstarters for all their books. So, yeah, that's what they do. They do a Kickstarter to fund the art and everything and then release the book. So, that's what they do. And they've got a number of titles now. Like I know that they've gone to like conventions and stuff like that and all that kind of jazz. So, I mean, they are out there, but there's no one really big enough that they're doing things like getting print books into stores and stuff like that, you know? So yeah. Some good stuff. All right. Well, guys, this has been a good little chat. But you know, it's after 10 and I got to go to work in the morning. Stupid early mornings that take way too much coffee to get through. But you know, we should do more of these. We should do more of these chats. Just sit down and talk about stuff. Anyway, you know what? So yeah, I'm going to end this one here. I do appreciate very much all of you dropping by. For those of you who arrived late, don't worry, it'll be live on YouTube in just a matter of a couple of minutes that you can watch what you missed. And don't worry, because I ain't going anywhere. I'll be around later. Well, I don't mean later tonight, obviously, but I mean, like, I'm still around. I'm still putting stuff up, obviously. Feel free to watch my Minecraft videos. I do, like, shoot the breeze about stuff in the Minecraft videos as well, especially if people do jump into the chat there and ask me about stuff. We've talked about, like, isekai and everything else, so, you know, it's pretty laid back and cool, too, so, in any case, thank you all for coming on by, and we will talk to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye for now.